Yes, dude.
All
We're back
right.
again for episode number 8.
8, yes.
How do you say 8 in Indonesian?
That one I don't know yet.
I don't know either,
Yeah.
dude. I got like 1 through 6.
I learned
down.
17 the other day, and I already forgot
Yeah.
at Soham, because whenever they hand me a key tag, I'm like, how do you say that in Bahasa?
Yeah, that's
and I'm
exactly
like,
what I
I'm
asked
never
him
going to
too.
remember that.
That's funny. But once you get 1 through 9, you just add dua at the end. And I'm pretty sure that makes it in the teens.
Pulu.
Pulu, and then dua
Duas
pulu.
too.
Then duas 2, and that's how you
Yeah.
get to the 20s. It's basically in any language, you learn 1 through 9, and then you're pretty solid.
You'd think.
It would-
Russian is completely
Russian?
fucked. Yeah.
Fuck Russian.
I already forgot
Yeah.
how to count in Russian. I know it's like adno. Yeah. Четыре is 4.
Okay. Yeah, see? 4 is all
Tree.
your...
3 is tree.
Okay.
Tree.
I feel like tree, like a TR sound is pretty relevant across the board, or a D sound. So in German, it's drei, and then tiga in Indonesian.
Tiga.
And then
Umpa
Chinese
is 4? Oh, yeah. You're still on the
satu, dua, tiga, empat, empat,
Lima.
lima, and then enam.
Enam.
And we got 6. And then 7, 8, and 9, I forget, but we can learn it
Yes.
by the next podcast.
By the next podcast.
Yeah, language is fucking cool, dude.
So on today's episode of the Bali Boys, we have some Tahitian nani juice, which is from our local favorite grocery store, Soil Food Temple.
They're awesome.
We're there like every day. We spend all of our money there, and it's
Mhm.
fantastic. I wish we had something like that in the U.S. Maybe we do. It's just way overpriced.
Yeah, I'm sure it exists. It's just not going to be the prices of soil.
But it's a very small store, so they got all sorts of like jars with different dried fruits. We got some cassava chips to try. They have all sorts of homemade juices, and I got some bone broth.
Anything
cookies,
you would want, like literally, it's-
protein powder.
even the treats, like the Snickers bar, they're made with better micronutrients. You know what I mean?
Yes.
They're, it's not just a bunch of garbage processed stuff. So yeah, we have a heyday every time we go in there. And then the one guy's name that we remember is Marco.
Marco.
Because Kaylee is dating Marco. They've been together for a long time. Hi, Kaylee and Marco. And Marco, he speaks the best English that you could possibly hear. When he talks, he says, "Welcome to the store. My name is Marco. How may I help you?" I'm like, dude, this is weird.
I'm like, yo, apa kabar?
Apa kabar, dude, please speak with an accent. And I'm like, where'd you learn English? She's like, I studied English at an international school. And I'm like, that's crazy, bro.
Stop talking.
You could be like a Siri or a robot or something. So, yeah, he's pretty cool. We love to go there. And if we have to start dipping into our Bitcoin savings, it's because of soil.
Absolutely, 100%.
Because they soiled our fiat. They soiled it completely, so then we had to dip into Bitcoin.
And then someone we see at Soil and Soham all the time is our Australian friend Jesse.
Mhm.
Shout
He's
out
legit.
to his brand Enki. I just got this.
Oh,
shirt
nice,
from
dude.
him.
Look
Yeah.
at all the cross
So,
promotion
I got to
happening
give him a
here.
shout out. This is an awesome
Yeah.
shirt. He makes some really cool merch,
legit.
shirts and sunglasses. So check
Yeah.
out Enki, Enki.
Yeah, he's a cool dude, entrepreneur for sure. A lot of crazy stories. He might be someone to have on the podcast.
Dude,
at
that
some
would be
point.
fun.
Cool. Yeah, we're getting set up. So one of the projects that let's
Yeah, let's
enjoy
try this.
That's how we usually start it off. Yeah, before we get to the weeds.
Cheers.
Cheers, mate. Cheers. Tastes like apple cider vinegar.
I don't like that
I don't like it at all.
at all. That's terrible.
That's some fucking worse. I feel like I need to dilute it more, to be completely
Yeah.
honest.
Yeah.
I feel
I'm
like
gonna
it's
get some water.
highly acidic, my friend.
Oh.
Jeez.
And that was more expensive than all the other ones.
Fuck you, soil. We take everything
I
back.
got some cucumber water from
Yeah,
Soham, so maybe
please.
that'll fucking...
Please help me. This tastes like it's gonna burn my esophagus later. Nice.
I'm going to drink it because it's part of the podcast.
Yeah.
I'm not going to enjoy
The
it.
cucumber at least adds an additional flavor to it, but it still sucks. I would say that Lintang is still much better than this. It's way better.
Lintang, yes.
It's like, try a chip. What are these chips called? They're called
Cassava,
cassava.
which I'm fairly certain is a root vegetable, but don't quote me on that.
Wish I had more salt, but it's good. I'll eat the hell out of these things.
Yeah, they're good like little munchies.
Oh, they're like kind of like veggie straws,
Yeah,
you know, but chips.
but chips.
Mm-hmm. Cool. What the fuck were we saying?
All right, so
Mhm.
we had a week in between this podcast and the last. I know some of our distances between podcasts are longer than others.
Yeah.
But one of the things that happened this past week is I participated in my first ever modeling shoot with an agency. Shout out to XV Talent and to Brandon for making that relationship. But that was super cool. I went out to the other side of the island to Sanur, and we had this clear kayak. And I was laying in this clear kayak, and it was all drone footage. So we had a professional drone, drone pilot, whatever you would call those.
Well, a guy that's like doing the aircraft who's controlling it.
Yeah, he's controlling it and operating the camera.
A drone operator.
Drone operator, yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah, we'll call it that.
But I didn't really know what to expect. I was just kind of like, I was wearing my white short shorts, white shirt, and just kind of posing in the kayak, looking up at the camera.
That's
and
so cool.
The pictures turned out really great.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to share those. Later today, I'm actually going into the studio for my first studio shoot to build my comm card. So very excited. ADT Modeling is in business.
Yep. We talked about it, man. Knew it was just a matter of time. Yep. Shout out to Xaviera, who I've been saying her name wrong the entire time, man. It's kind of funny. You meet people out here, and opportunities open up that you wouldn't realize. And we talked about it on the last podcast. But I met Xaviera on Tinder 2 months. It was like 2 or 3 months before I came out here the first time to kind of scout it out. And as we were talking, I learned that she ran a talent agency. We connected. We have a bunch in common. She's super intelligent, talented, ambitious, young, and so we kind of hit it off, and we went on a date. And really enjoyed each other's company. And, she asked me, she's like, hey, whenever you're ready, definitely model. You can start modeling, we do photo shoot. And I'm like, yeah, that's cool. I'm down. I'm like, not right now. I'm going to focus on some other stuff. But I know just the guy. I know the guy that is ready for market. And you crushed it, man. You're kicking ass.
I appreciate
He's
you,
natural.
brother.
It's natural. And she even said, this dude is like a natural. She told you that. She mentioned it to me. And they did a shoot together because she's, she manages the agency, but she's also a model herself. And it looked awesome. It looks like straight out of a fucking vlog brochure travel destination.
Honeymoon in the Maldives.
Yeah.
That's what she said.
Yeah, exactly. So it's neat. And that's going to be something that Aiden continues to lean into, which will not only help with building a modeling brand, but also like a fitness coaching brand, because people are going to see that and they're like, this dude looks really good. He's in really great shape. What do you do? Oh, well, I do this, but it leads into it.
Absolutely.
And it's authentic.
It's an opportunity to show off the physique that I've worked so hard to build. And in the modeling community, obviously there are fit models, but there's a lot of like really skinny models. Like you see pictures of them, and I want to represent like the peak physical form as a male in modeling.
That's what the peak male form looks like. It's either that or Alex Jones. I can't figure out what's more masculine, but either one of those is pretty great. And it's neat, man. It's natural, it's authentic, and it all works together. And I told Zabi, I said, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do it, be more for fun for me once I get my six-pack. I'm going to earn that shit.
And you've been working very hard on that.
I've been working hard. I had a couple slip-ups. I got to be honest. I buy this fruit because I'm like, that's good carbs, but I just mow it, dude. Like at night, I'm like, I'm not going to order Grab instead, and I just like eat all this jackfruit. I'm like, that's so much sugar at night.
But we did talk about how your slip-ups have improved because at least you're binging on fruit instead of like
McDonald's and Taco Bell and
exactly
pizza.
Seed oil laden shit.
Yeah,
so
it's small steps.
You got to recognize improvement where it occurs.
Tough for me to do that.
It's really tough for all of us to do that, man.
I'm like
sometimes
so far from where I need to be in my own head,
Sometimes I feel that way as well, and we really have to shift the perspective to not how far we have to go, but how far we've come.
Yeah.
Like look backwards and be like, holy shit! Like this past 2 years, we've come so far. We've done so much.
I look back at the reels you post, and I'm like, that's fucking. People comment, like they'll comment. They're like, "Is that you?" I'm like, "Yeah." That was a version of myself. That's still in here.
Still latent, yeah. Always.
Yeah, it's always there, man. And it manifests itself into different forms, different pleasure-seeking, hedonistic behaviors. And it's a constant. There's constant conversations that need to happen. Routines, practices, communities, service work. There's a spiritual connection with God or Jesus Christ, where wherever you find that. It's important, or you'll notice yourself slipping backwards, right? And these last, like to Aiden's point, you know, he's been working and trying new things and stepping out of his comfort zone. Him and I, you know, we've been dialing in this last week. It's been like a lot of work, not so much travel, but existing in this beautiful space, meeting people, doing things that we don't necessarily want to do, but working. Like we're out here to work towards a better life, you know. And while we're enjoying a lot of these, there's not a better place to do it. Sometimes it's like you're gonna be in a coffee shop or at the wellness center on your computer for 8 hours. Or today I got up at 5 and instead of my routine business called, I had to talk to a partner and figure some shit out, and it went really well. But we are also 12 hours ahead now.
Yes.
So there's a 12-hour time gap. Not everybody's gonna be able to you gotta adjust. So it's about finding that balance between routines, non-negotiables, and then adjusting accordingly, right? And then being kind to yourself.
Yeah. I mean, the work is important, and it's why we're out here. But we're also out here to see beautiful sights, meet people, network. And that's why we love our Friday mornings. We go out to Prairie Beach and hit a run club. We run a 5K with a bunch of really cool people.
Right.
And then afterwards, get together for coffee and coconuts. And then we'll usually hit breakfast at our favorite spot. And we ended up sitting next to Frank and Landon,
dude.
two guys that we just met. And they were super cool. And we had a really great conversation with them. And it was like really educational and soul enriching.
Yeah.
And that's just a great way to start Friday.
It got me so stoked because we were talking about things that are relevant to the businesses that I'm building and working with right now. And coming back from, it was interesting because part of how we highlighted this podcast was talking about business a little bit. We haven't really dove, too far into the depths of it, but it is interesting because so much is shifting right now in technology, and then the capabilities of an individual such as Aiden and ourselves to create something with. You don't need a whole team to create a company or a brand, right? We see entrepreneurs come out here all the time that they launch wellness, health brands, fitness coaching, or they coach fitness coaches. I made a joke to Aiden that I'm going to be a coach for fitness coaches coaching fitness coaches.
Super meta.
But there's always an opportunity, and with the right work ethic and branding, you can do it. And what's even more unique, right, is you have people, this is what Frank was talking about, and I couldn't agree more with it, is that we're at a time where, being able to sell and market, we'll just put those in the same category, is so important. Like you'll feed yourself for a lifetime. If you can communicate, sell, and get things moving to generate money for a business, like you'll be great. And it's a skill that's transferable that can go into anything else. And then you have people that can build products from the ground up, software developers, back-end engineers, anyone with like a technical background or coding. And when you combine forces, typically now you've got a strong company. You have, Wozniak and Jobs worked well together, where Jobs was really doing a lot of the marketing and the forward speaking. He was a dev, like he was a technical guy too. Wozniak was kind of more on the back end, right? And that was a really dynamic duo. But now, people that are good communicators and understand hard workers and can communicate in any language well enough to a computer can start to develop and create products.
Absolutely.
So the game is like now tilted in favor of sales people, forward-thinking individuals, and entrepreneurs that come from a less technical background.
I mean, sales and marketing have always been two of the most valuable skills you can have, but especially as we move into the 21st century, in the information age, like we're in a new age of humanity. Like every 1,000 years or so, this is a big shift that's happening with the internet. I mean, the internet has completely changed society. It continues to shape society, especially with the advances in AI, and the how fast AI is moving.
Yes,
it's only going to get easier to make money if you jump on these opportunities. Like 100%. You said, it's never been easier.
It's never been easier, and what the real skill is, it's learning prompting. It's how do you get this computer to give you the best outputs that you want, right? How do you prompt the language learning model the best? And it doesn't take much to learn how to do that. You just need to understand the system that you're operating on, have a few conversations, and read a little bit about it. And if you get good at that, what we're seeing is you have You have apps. You have a piece of software that builds you a fucking app when you program the right language into it. And it's not going to be bulletproof. It's not like you can just click a prompt and then run. Now you have an app that's ready to launch on Marketplace or, the Apple Store. But
There's still trial and error,
Yes.
but you don't have to have dev skills like in the past.
Yeah, it's not like to get a concept, to have a real solid rough draft of something, it doesn't require excessive.
It's easier to get an idea from here to reality.
Yes.
It's the path is a lot less. There's a lot less obstacles than there used to be.
Correct.
And that also goes with how entry-level software development is going away. It's becoming a thing of the past.
Yeah.
All software development jobs are becoming advanced because AI can do any entry-level software development.
Yeah, they're all
changing
senior.
the game.
The positions that I'm looking at, on LinkedIn, because this is a space that I play in now, finding high-quality software teams that can develop these advanced projects for these startup companies that have received a round and are working on highly technical stuff, often in the AI realm. Many of the positions are highly specialized. Like, they're extremely niche, specialized software engineering positions. You're right, they're not basic. Because, it's pretty easy to fill that gap. And AI is not going to do all of it, but it can do a lot of it. It can do a lot. And same with sales. You can outbound a lot of high-quality messaging without having a shit ton of people. It's like funny because most people that are doing outbound sales they don't even know how to do the right messaging. And if you know someone that knows how to message well and automate and prompt things, that's way more valuable than a team of 10 people doing a half-assed job. And it's going to change the landscape. It's going to change so quick, and these large enterprises that cannot move quickly enough are going to be in trouble. And I look forward. We're gonna play this back. I'm going on. This is what's cool about recording this shit. Like, I'm either gonna be very wrong or I'm gonna be very right. I don't think it's gonna be anywhere in the middle.
He's usually right.
Yeah.
This guy predicts a lot of stuff.
Why don't you share with the audience what I predicted?
Yeah, well, you predicted that Bitcoin was going to change the game in a big way, and that happened, and is happening, and will be happening for the next 10 years. So if you still don't have any Bitcoin, get some. Because 2035, we hit the 99% supply point, and
or don't get some, because then I'll have more.
Yeah, that's true. More for us. That's fine.
It's actually very virtuous of us to tell people to buy Bitcoin when it's finite. That's what people understand. They're like, oh, I'm like, listen, bro, I'm actually scamming myself by telling you to buy it.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's just because we care about you, the viewers.
Yeah, we do.
Or as the Bitcoiners love to say, have fun staying poor.
Have fun staying poor, man. So definitely buy Bitcoin. You mentioned another one that I forgot about. You're like, you called that.
Oh, yeah. We were talking about something recently.
I just want you to tell me how great I am for a little bit.
You want to bask in it? Yeah.
Well, I don't do it very often.
Well, yeah, you're right about pretty much everything.
Okay, I'll give you one. Do you remember watching the debate between Biden and Trump at your place?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
And you said that he was going to withdraw.
Yeah. We watched the debate, and I said, here's exactly what needed to happen for the Democrats to get enough power to be able to get him to resign. And then right with the first interview we saw, a Democrat went on there and said, yeah, I don't think he's fit for office. I said, there it is. They're going to take that, and they're going to pull him. And then
we were up north, I think. We were driving home, and then you saw an article on your phone. You're like, boom, called it.
Yep. Yeah, sometimes you know, but not always right. Not always right. Was very right about Bitcoin, and I got a lot of shit for that, especially from my dad in 2013, just calling me a fucking idiot. It was at $40 for a Bitcoin. And I was like, you should buy some. You make a lot of money. Maybe put like $1,000 in it, And it was funny because he's like, why would he take advice from me? Because you know what I was doing? Drugs. That's what I was using my Bitcoin for.
We spent a lot of Bitcoin on drugs.
Oh man, we certainly did.
Unfortunate, but it was part of the process. Mm-hmm. And another thing Bitcoiners say.
Shout out to you, Ross.
Yeah, glad that you're free, man.
Yeah, we really are, man. Seriously.
how much? What was your biggest loss?
I was just gonna say
purchase,
another thing that Bitcoiners say is everyone buys Bitcoin at the price they deserve.
and hodls it.
Yeah, we didn't deserve it back then because we didn't truly we knew it was big, but we didn't understand exactly what it was.
Yeah.
That it was the most important thing that humanity's invented in the past 10,000 years. Is
I would've
perfect
died.
money.
I would have. I like. You're like, oh, don't you wish you would have? No, no, I was smoking crack.
Yeah,
Like,
imagine being a
almost
billionaire and then having a crack addiction.
Yeah.
addiction.
Oh, dude, the worst. Like, it wouldn't have fulfilled. Like, oh, all of a sudden, now that I'm rich, I would have been fiscally responsible. That's nonsense, man. I would have spent it on pleasure.
You have to build the foundation first,
Yes.
and then get the money.
Yes,
If you get the money first, it never works out.
It never does. I deserve all the Bitcoin I have today.
Going
I
back
work
to the
more.
biggest loss, I think I spent
Well, allocation. We won't call it a loss. We'll call it an allocation.
an allocation. Okay, yeah,
Mhm.
I think I spent about 50 million sats, which is half a Bitcoin,
half a Bitcoin.
on like 120 bars of Xanax.
Okay. That's a
So-
spend, bro.
Yeah.
That's expensive bars.
And
Xanax.
Bitcoin is down right now, so
Like
that's
84,
still like
85.
$35,000, $40,000 in today's money on some Xanax.
Yeah, that's a Xanax purchase there.
That Xanax is really good though.
Oh, well, the irony about Xanax is it just is. Remember?
It just is.
It just is. You don't really remember it, but you're like, that was cool. And you wake up and you're like, something happened.
I don't know. That shit relaxed me, man.
Yeah, it was one that I was like my Xanax days. It was tough getting off that shit.
Like I didn't. That wasn't one drug that I really abused that much. I actually used
you
like
were responsible.
there
Xanax
were
user.
a couple
I
of
wasn't.
binges I had, but
Fucking-
for the most part, I would just take like a little bit in the evenings to relax and sleep because I was on Adderall all day.
Yeah,
It was just like a cocktail of drugs. Like when
Yeah.
you're on drugs, you have to balance them out. Like
Yep.
Adderall and caffeine in the morning, you're productive. Then you burn out in the afternoon, so you got to smoke some weed and take some Xanax. Maybe have a whiskey,
Yep.
and then whatever else you want to throw into the mix.
I would wake up. I would do fentanyl before class.
Fucking fentanyl before class.
Yeah,
I don't get it.
But I would do fentanyl before class with my coffee. So I would feel like, okay, I'd have caffeine, fentanyl. Then I would
A
take,
little speedball coffee.
yeah, but
Okay.
then usually the caffeine, I was really sensitive to caffeine. So then I would take Xanax. So like a little bit of Xanax to calm me down. And then I was going into class, so I'd be like, I got to be focused, so I'd take an Adderall. And then if I felt like it was coming down the Adderall, I would do coke in the bathroom. And then I would do more fentanyl because I'd be too sped up. Dude, it was fucked. Like, I literally was like what I did. I had a whole, and I'm just on probably 10 different drugs, but
I think I did a bump of coke before a differential equations class one time, and I was just like, I was asking questions, I was taking notes.
I know.
Like, I
I was
love
always
going
raising my
back
hand.
and looking at my handwriting from my notes when I was on Adderall because it's perfect. Like, my penmanship's already good, but
it's
on
fantastic.
Adderall,
You wrote a
it's
note,
like,
dude. Your note, like I read your, I'm like, this is the best hand. I'm like, this dude is the prettiest handwriter I've ever seen. I was like, it
it's a
was
skill I've had since I was little.
yeah,
it's just one of
it's
those
very
things.
legible. Yeah, it's very legible. I was impressed. I was like,
If
I'm
you
gonna
if
frame
you
it.
ever write me a note, just type it up. 'cause
I
don't
will.
think I'll be able to read it.
there's no way he'd be able to read my handwriting. If I ever have anything nice to say to you, which I'm sure I'll figure something out. If I ever want to write you a note, it will definitely be typed out. It'll be typed and printed because I feel like a DM isn't enough. You know, what I mean?
The hard copy is a nice touch.
a hard copy is a nice touch. So I would print it out and
You can like put your signature at the bottom.
I'll sign it. Yeah, I'll sign it. 100%. Wait, where were we at?
We were talking about doing drugs in school.
drugs
and
in
now-
school, Bitcoin. Okay, got
Yes.
it.
And now, just going back to like how when you're on drugs, you have to constantly balance out the effects of all the drugs you're taking.
Yep.
It's so much nicer being sober because you have your highs and lows, but they're not as like intense. It's
They're
like,
more manageable.
yeah, like you wake up, you get a
Mhm.
little exercise in to get your brain going. Maybe you get a little tired in the afternoon,
Yeah.
but there's not these like intense crashes and really low feelings.
Mhm.
It's just like you learn to manage your emotions more. You learn to manage your day to day more,
Yep.
and it becomes like when you first get off of it, you're like, "This sucks."
Yeah.
But
rough.
once you have some time in sobriety, it's like, "Oh, this is way better than before."
It becomes more manageable, and we seek spiritual progress rather than spiritual perfection, which is something I'm working on. You know, that self patience and
Spiritual perfection doesn't exist.
spiritual perfection exists for Christ. is, as a Christian, that would be it for Christ, not for anybody else, right?
Ah, yes,
Right.
the Christian cult.
Yes, there you go. So that would be an instance, but yeah, like nobody, no human. It doesn't exist for humans, right? Only for God. But Bitcoin. I spent 5 Bitcoin on a quarter pound of mushrooms
5 Bitcoin.
in
Woo.
2013.
So 5 Bitcoin, that's
$400,000.
$400,000.
Yeah, almost $500,000. What is
Chunk of
that?
change.
Yeah, honestly, not that much money. You can make that back quick.
Wasn't you were talking about Brett spent that how much on an eighth of weed?
Allegedly, he told me this was a couple of years before that when Bitcoin was not
Stupid
worth.
cheap.
Yeah, it was like, I don't know, cents on a cent. That he said he spent 1,000 Bitcoin on an eighth of marijuana.
1,000 Bitcoin on an eighth. Oh my god.
Yeah, that one's got to hurt. That's got to sting a little bit at some point.
Yeah, you look back and sometimes you feel the woulda, coulda, shoulda, but ultimately,
Yeah,
we are where we are now.
mm-hmm. We're going where we're going.
Once you learn about Bitcoin and you start taking it seriously, you start dollar cost averaging it.
Yeah.
And you lower your time preference.
So you got to get burned a little bit.
You got to get burned.
Go buy some shit coins. Go buy some XRP and tell me how it works out. It was like the story about getting sober when I've been in the program, in and out of the program since I was like 16 years old. And the best advice that I ever got from an individual, the guy was in his early 20s and he had maybe a year or two of sobriety, worked the program, and came up to me after the meeting. He's like, "Hey man, I heard your story. I could relate to a lot of it. I feel like, I did a lot of the same stuff your age." And I'm like, "Yeah, but, I'm not really I wasn't an alcoholic. I'm not a big drinker. I just like to, smoke a little bit of weed and take Xanax once in a while." He's like, "Okay." And I'm like, "I'm going to go to a party tonight. I know I can control it." And he looked at me and he said, "You should totally do that." He's like, "You should go to the party. You should drink. You should smoke weed, see how it feels, and then just try to manage that and then see what happens." And, I did, and it didn't work. It didn't go very good.
Were you sober for a while before you went to that party?
Yeah, like maybe like a couple months.
Okay.
60 days or 90 days. I never got much. I always got like a couple months as a teenager. And then something would happen where I was able to, in my mind, rationalize it. Or,
yeah.
There was a lot of stuff. It was really, it was chaotic. So I did, and ended up in rehab like maybe a month or two later. It just didn't work. I just completely spiraled. And not everybody's situation looks the same. And there was some talk about that today, is you don't necessarily have to lose everything to have a better life or become better or improve or to lose weight or to get sober. Like not everyone needs to do that, right? And
Yeah.
It takes some pain. It's just like you said, when that threshold of pain exceeds the perceived pleasure point from doing something. Like once that crosses,
It's when the pain of staying the same becomes greater than the pain of change.
there you go. That's when it can happen, right? And when you mix that with something spiritual, it becomes rooted in something deeper as well. So it took a lot, but you meet people that get their shit together and they didn't have to OD, they didn't have to lose their kids, they have to lose their job. Like I never lost I was high performing at work. I wasn't in great health, obviously, but there wasn't all of this like extremely broken relationships with people, stealing, getting thrown in jail. Like that wasn't how it looked the last time. And it didn't need to, because I had enough emotional suffering to be like, this shit isn't working. I can't suffer like this emotionally anymore,
Mm-hmm.
So the catalyst for change looks different for each individual, but I'm of the opinion that although the catalyst looks different, most of the time, the actual process and the success of carrying it out are rooted in love and spirituality. They can't be rooted in proving somebody wrong or ego. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It has to extend deeper at some point, because that fear and pain isn't enough to sustain it, because you'll forget about it. The brain forgets about that shit.
Yeah. It has to be like you're doing this for yourself, not for other people.
Yes.
Not for any other
Intrinsic
purpose.
rather than extrinsic, right?
Exactly, yes.
So it's pretty cool. Oh, some other stuff. So although there hasn't been too much like eventful things happening here besides, work and modeling gigs, meeting new people, which is that's so awesome. It's little things. But we do have some things on the radar. We will be having a guest on. I spoke with him. So we're going to aim for next week. Prince, who we met at Run Club.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yep. So we're going to figure out, I'm going to figure out, do some homework on a 3-person podcast. Prince is from Africa. He lived in China for 6 years, and he's an influencer and a YouTuber who travels around. Kind of his thing is he teaches men how to pick up women in different countries, which is cool, and he does a good job at it. So building, men's confidence around different regions, and he's super personable, and he speaks Chinese, which is fucking sick. We were talking, I was like, you lived in China? He's like, yeah. And then I'm like, you speak Chinese? And we started going back and forth. And I told him, I said, dude, the only thing cooler than a white guy that speaks Chinese is a black guy that speaks Chinese. He's like, absolutely. The Chinese people love that shit. So he's got videos of him shocking people in China speaking Mandarin. So we'll have him on. And then also in a couple of weeks, we'll probably talk about this more on the next. Well, we probably won't because we'll be interviewing him.
Nyepi.
Nyepi, dude. Nyepi is the day of silence in Bali, Indonesia. And essentially, like, everything, you stay home. You're not
allowed to go outside. No. You're not allowed to use electricity.
Mm-hmm.
The entire island shuts down. And it's meant to be a day of self-reflection and spirituality.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe the day before and the day after there are you got chips all over you.
Chips all over myself. These things are
classic chops.
Chops and chips, dude. Just call me Chips. Yeah, go ahead.
But so there's a celebration the day before and the day after, I believe, from the information Lynn sent us.
Oh, and the day after too? I didn't see that. I thought it was like
there were two things she sent us.
Oh shit.
One was about the day before, and I believe one was about the day after. That's like a celebration and the burning of effigies that represent evil spirits.
I thought what she sent us, I just thought she accidentally sent it twice.
Oh,
no. It looked like the same link.
Things.
Okay. Yeah, so they're cleansing the spirit and all that stuff. And there's big parades. Apparently, I knew there was a parade the day before, but apparently there's a parade the day after. And the day of is silence. Like the airport's shut down. Like ain't shit going on Nyepi. So we're going to spend it in Ahmed, which is really close to Kubu. I've been to Kubu. Kubu's just north.
East Coast Bali.
Yeah, northeast Bali. And beautiful area for scuba diving, snorkeling, black sand beaches. It's going to be really lovely. And
we got some villas right on the beach, so it should be a
really
cool trip.
And the day of silence, we're probably going to be really loud and do a podcast because that seems really on brand. We're Americans. Of course we don't give a shit about other traditions.
Sorry, we're American.
Sorry, dude. We're American. Maaf saya Amerika. Saya dari Amerika. Kita dari Amerika. Maaf.
Mm-hmm.
We are from America.
Maaf.
So, maaf. What's up, maaf? So that's cool. So we got that in the pipeline.
Oh, and another cool thing we did this week, we went to a cat shelter.
Oh, yeah. What is that?
So up in Canggu, they have this cat boarding house called the Odd Cat, where you can go inside this big caged room with like 85 cats and have like an iced tea. And so I showed up a little bit before Brandon. I sat down at a table, and this guy handed me a little bowl of cat food. And within like a few seconds, there were just cats all over me.
I didn't know that part. I didn't know you did that.
And there was like one cat that was bullying the others, trying to get more food.
The alpha cat,
trying to keep the food away and give it to all the other cats.
Trying to share, didn't want to share.
But it was an adorable experience. Like all these cats. This lady, what was her name? Julie.
It was Julie. You're good. Yeah, it was Julie.
Yeah. So she, I believe, is originally from France, and she has spent most of her life in Bali. Grew up here. And she owns the Odd Cat, so she takes care of all of these cats and fosters them, puts them up for adoption.
She knew every cat's name. There was over 80 cats, and she's like, "Oh, that's Cupcake. She's being silly," and like she's just talking about all the cats and their personalities. I'm like, there couldn't be a better woman doing something like this. It's incredible, and there's a need for something like that in Bali.
Yeah, there's a lot of stray animals in Bali.
Yep.
But
friendly.
I met a one-eyed cat named Hannah. She was my friend. And
it was chill.
What was the cat's name that was crawling all over you?
Honestly, I don't know. I have no idea, dude.
You don't remember the cat's
No,
name?
it's
Come
funny.
on.
He's pretty good with names. I'm actually pretty impressed. I remember the guy that we talked to. That's an easy name to remember.
David, yes,
dude.
from Ireland.
David, Northern Ireland, which is
Northern
different.
Ireland.
That was a crazy
We
accent.
found out that Northern Ireland is
Yeah.
different from the Republic of Ireland.
Uh-huh.
Had no idea.
Yep.
So those are the people that when they're talking, it doesn't sound like they're speaking English.
From Hannah the Human, not Hannah the Cat.
Yes, Hannah the Human is from the Republic of Ireland, who has like a slight Irish accent.
Yeah, it's like a cute, subtle Irish accent. It's not like this obnoxious where it's like,
What are you saying?
What are you saying? Get out of here.
He's like, my name's David. I'm like, oh, that'll be easy to remember.
Yeah, I was like, okay, we can swing that. We can remember that. Because your middle name is also, so yeah, I'm sure half of our viewers know that my dad's name is David, my middle name is David, Aiden's dad's name is David, and his middle name is also David.
Yes.
And yeah, it's pretty funny how that works out. Yeah, some cool Daves for sure. So yeah, it's been pretty light around here, but that's nice. You know, you can get dialed in. We're meeting new people. We're still keeping up with the Run Club, which is cool.
You know, maybe this summer when we're back in the States, we can have the Daves on the podcast.
Yeah, well,
You're just like,
I was thinking we'll have your dad on the podcast.
Yeah, we'll start with my Dave.
We'll start with your Dave,
and then I'll
have my dad
I'll
crackers.
bully your dad into coming on the podcast.
It's like it's nothing. If there's one thing that's certain, it's that people. I feel like most people are always going to be embarrassed by their parents in some way. Probably not Aiden. Aiden's, his dad's pretty cool.
Yeah, he's a G.
Yeah, he's a G. My dad's a little more embarrassing.
I think your dad's funny.
Yeah, I just adding a camera. Like I just know he's going to try to be theatrical and funny, and it just isn't going to work that well. You know what? Fuck it. Who gives a shit? Yeah, let's do it.
This is the Bolly Boys podcast.
It's gonna be so cringe.
So
cringe, man.
Hey, man. Sometimes cringe entertainment is good entertainment.
It is. It definitely sells. I feel like a lot of the things I do makes Kaylee cringe for sure. It's so cringe, dude. Like no matter what, the older sibling, the older parent, different generation, different mindset.
Yeah,
so
very true.
It's all subjective. But yeah, I'd be down for that. Maybe wait for my dad to leave his corporate job, but I feel like he's going to be probably working that till he's 90. I'm not leaving.
You can never get away.
No, can't break out of the Matrix, dude. Your dad's almost out of the Matrix.
Yeah, he's working on it.
Yeah.
Maybe we can film the podcast at his new place.
That would be cool. Yeah, well, I'll probably be there for 3 days in the U.S., so just let me know.
For 3 days, yeah.
I'll probably do a month. Do a month there. July. But the problem is, like, I really like September, but then that keeps me there for so long,
Yeah, I mean, it could be a fun experience.
90 days, dude.
Absence makes the heart grow fonder. Stay away from here for a bit. I mean, I'm gonna spend at least
the prices, dude.
Yeah, but aren't you gonna be making money?
Yeah, that's true. It's just not gonna matter. You're right. It's not gonna matter.
Like it's nice being out here right now because we're in the beginning stages of building our businesses, but. Once you have some revenue generating streams coming in, then it's like, okay.
You're right. It doesn't really matter.
I could spend a little bit more.
It just, especially kind of doing my own thing. It's not like I have to go back to Livonia. Like, that's the thing. I can be in northern Michigan.
Exactly.
You're right.
Exactly.
The whole mindset of being, it's not like I'm tied to Metro Detroit. That's more of it. Like, why would I wouldn't go back to Metro Detroit. Yeah. But there's a whole lot more in Michigan than Metro Detroit for people that aren't from Michigan that are watching this.
Yeah, I'm probably going to be back for a few months just to help my dad with everything because ideally he wants to sell the house this summer in Plymouth. So get all that shit out of there. Good. Get rid of all the rest of my stuff.
Okay. I'll stop by Plymouth I'm going to strip all the copper out of your place and definitely sell that. Good. See, the addict is always, he lays dormant. I'm like, what can I do to make money off of that?
What can I do to make money?
And to fuck other people over. That was nice. So you'll be there for a few months. I'm thinking maybe we change our name to the Thailand Boys for next season. I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
I got more to see. There's definitely a home in Bali, but we got more of Southeast Asia.
Absolutely. I mean, it's tempting to just stay here, but we got to see Thailand.
One of my best friends is getting married. He's super fucking selfish for that.
Still haven't received a wedding invitation.
Oh my God, so funny, bro. I'm going to clip this and send it to him.
What weddings in how many months?
I don't know if he sent any wedding invites out yet, and his wedding's in a few months.
It's at like 4 months from today.
Oh man, I can't wait to give that speech, man. I'm gonna make fun of him so bad. Oh god, for me, there's so much material. There's so much to work
I want to
with.
say 4 months from today, but I don't know the date, so I'm just kind of guessing.
I've got it like somewhere buried. I got it somewhere in my calendar because he told me. He's like, man, you already got an invite. I'm like, because I saved it in my calendar. I don't think anyone else knows. So that'll be cool. Shout out to you, Muncie. He's working hard.
We love you, Muncie.
We love you, bro.
But definitely going to keep giving you shit until
we
we receive invitations.
But
to
honestly,
your wedding.
we all know it's Lori's fault that the invites didn't get sent out. It's really the woman's job. So, Lori, if you're watching this, please get your shit together. I just really want you to be a good wife for my friend. So
we don't even need a hard copy. Just an email would be nice. Something a save the date, as they say.
Save the date. Yeah, it could be virtual. So. Everyone's just doing their best, They got other shit going on. But yeah, I guess that's the recent Volley Boys antics, and appreciate you guys tuning in with us. We'll keep you posted, and the next podcast will be with Prince.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Cool.
Thanks for tuning in, everybody.
Peace
Until
out,
next
homies.
time.
Don't drink this shit either. It's garbage. I gotta dilute it more.
Nah,
The
me
chips are
too.
okay. I put salt on them though for sure.
Yeah, that's a good idea. It's supposed to be good for you.
That's what matters.